Hello guys, my name is Emma and welcome to Marshall Minded. Today I wanted to continue our journey through ex-Mormon Reddit, and this time I wanted to talk about dating at BYU in Utah. So I did not go to BYU personally, but I lived in the area twice. So the first time I was 17 and I was going to school online, but I lived on basically where most off-campus BYU students live. So I kind of got the immersion of the dating scene at BYU. The second time I was going to UVU, the university where Charlie Kirk got shot. And so it wasn't quite in the same location, but obviously like most of my roommates went to BYU, and yeah, I was surrounded by a lot of people going to BYU, and I feel like I have experience with it. So the first time I lived there, I wasn't dating as much because I was only 17. The second time I lived there, I was 21, and I did date, and oh my goodness, I have some wild dating stories, and the wildest ones are from Mormon boys. So I want to go ahead and jump into this Reddit page, read some funny stories, and maybe tell a few of my own. So let's go. All right, so this thread starts with, anyone else have traumatizing BYU dating stories? So for those of you who don't know, BYU is Brigham Young University, and it's in Provo, Utah. It's a private school funded by like the Mormon Church, and it's like the best of the best go to BYU. So I actually never applied. I don't know, maybe I would have gotten rejected. My grades weren't amazing, but I did get into BYU, Hawaii, and Idaho. But anyways, I never applied because I knew that was where like the perfect people went, and I knew that wasn't the place for me. So yeah, I remember one FHE night, our family, FHE, family home evening. We also did this when I lived there, and it's like within your ward, which is like this location of Mormons, clumps together and creates a ward, which is just a group of people. So it's like this ward, you clump up even more in separation, and then you have FHE families, family home evenings. So you're supposed to get together on Mondays and do activities together. It was actually super fun. The first time I lived there when I was 17, we would do it pretty consistently, and I made some super awesome friends. So I loved it, and we didn't make it that religious. It was like we would hang out and make like cookies or something, you know? So it was very casual, and I really enjoyed it. We didn't really do it much when I lived there when I was 21, but yeah. Anyway, so the family is a little group, and it's usually like a couple girls and a couple guys. So our family decided to go swimming indoors because it was BYU, Idaho in the middle of February. And we all ended up in the hot tub hanging out together. Well, this one guy who I had just met a couple weeks prior overhears me talking about a theater competition I did where I sang a song from Les Mis. Big mistake mentioning the word Les Mis in front of Mormons. I know. Wait, why? Actually, I don't know what's going on. I learned my lesson. The man started singing to me the song A Heart Full of Love. Because Mormons love musicals, right? Okay. He started singing A Heart Full of Love across this hot tub full of people. I was not into it for obvious reasons, but I didn't know what to do. I couldn't leave. Everyone was staring at me. I didn't want this man to think I was interested in the slightest, so I just awkwardly tried diverting the conversation to something else. There will never be anybody hornier than single Mormons, I'm convinced. But anyways, being raised Mormon, I love a good musical, okay? Phantom of the Opera, Anastasia, Waitress, I love them. Les Mis as well, I also very, very much like. But yeah, so that's true. Another true point, there will never be anybody hornier than single Mormons. Yeah. When I went on dates in Utah, in Provo, in BYU territory, the Mormon boys that I would go on dates with were the ones who wanted to make out, who wanted to do things quickly on the first date. Like, they were the ones. So anyways, I can attest to the fact that the Mormons were the horniest people. So, yeah. Okay, let's read some comments. My bishop had a flip book of the girls in the ward that he would use in his interviews with the boys and challenge them to ask the single ones out. We were all single, so this meant those with no known prospects. Anyways, you would guess correctly that I finally started going on a lot of first dates that semester. I was over the moon. It had been years of feeling bad for staying home every Friday night. Had a great time until one nasty boy broke my heart with the truth. With the fact that the bishop was behind it all and he was forced to go out with me. Oh, that's terrible. I cried for 2 days straight. My roommates were all engaged at this point, so didn't suffer the same humiliation. And honestly, because of that, didn't care, but ouch, that scar is still there. Oh my goodness, that is terrible. I've heard of bishops, which are like a pastor for the ward or the church. I've heard of bishops kind of setting people up, like in an interview, they'll be like, hey, maybe you should go ask Sister Lee out or whatever. But I've never heard of it so intense as this. That is terrible. I had a roommate who really wanted to serve a mission. The bishop wouldn't let her start prepping her papers, and he explicitly told her it was because there were a lot of single men in the ward and it was her job to marry one of them, not serve a mission. She switched wards. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's insane. Okay, so yeah, I actually also have an experience with this. When I was about 16, I had an interview with someone who was in the bishopric. So it's not like the main pastor bishop guy, it's like one of his minions. And anyways, 16, a minor, let's remember this. This man asks me, like, casual questions, like, how you doing in school, blah, blah, what are your plans, what are your goals? And I tell him, like, I want to go to college, and then maybe even I want to go on a mission. Obviously, I was still into the church and into Jesus at that time. Anyways, when I mention that I want to go to college and on a mission, he kind of stops and he goes, no, sister, don't forget that marriage is also really important. If a good guy comes into your life, that's the most important. Ah! What do you mean? No, because what do you mean? Discouraging women from going to college and going on a mission, which, yeah, I'm not a big fan of missions and I don't recommend people to go on them. But I would rather a person go on a 1.5 year commitment than the commitment of marriage. Oh my goodness. He's telling a 16-year-old, don't put college first, put a man first. An imaginary man. Okay, we got a story time. First story. My first week at BYU, I got asked out by a guy in my freshman ward while on a group get to know you activity in the canyon. Was like, sure, may as well. We said we'd go out like a week in the future. The guy immediately started putting his arms around me, trying to hold my hand, etc. After I said I would go on a date, I say I don't like being touched. He does not take no for an answer. I cannot overemphasize how much this was happening in full view of the entire ward. Full daylight, middle of an activity. I kept swatting him away. He does not get the hint. I keep moving to different groups of people trying to shake him. He follows and keeps grabbing me. Finally, I made some jokes in one of these groups of people at my own expense. I think about my weight, and he said, oh no, you're beautiful, and put one hand fully on my belly and the other at the small of my back and squeezed. I lost it. Yelled at him to stop touching me and that I was canceling our date and I would never be going on a date with him. He was shocked. Followed me around confusedly for a week before giving up. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's just terrible. I don't know what I would do if that happened to me. That is horrifying. Okay, second story. Was working in the Cannon Center dorm cafeteria in Provo over the summer between freshman and sophomore years and got asked out by an RM, return missionary, who ate there regularly. Didn't realize at the time that he was actively looking for young, impressionable girls. I had a missionary out at the time. That's a whole other thing. Okay. Missionary out of the time, basically like she was probably dating someone and then he went on a mission. So they're like technically not together, but probably they made some type of agreement like, I'll wait for you, you wait for me kind of deal. but had been getting hella pressure from Bishop, etc. to go on dates. So I was like, sure, fine, said yes, then foolishly accepted a ride from him for the date because I didn't have a car. This too was a guy who did not know how to keep his hands to himself. Again, horniest people are Mormon boys. We played a board game and I spent the whole time swatting his hand away from my thighs. Oh, should have bailed then. Again, this was happening in a public, well-lit space surrounded by people. Then we went to see a movie. I ended up holding his hand through the film because that was the only way to keep his hands still and off me. He spent the whole movie running his thumb over my hands and we went out for ice cream. And by went out for ice cream, I mean he drove me to his place and pulled out a half-eaten carton of vanilla. Oh my god. His roommates were absent. He then regaled me with stories about other women he'd been on dates with who weren't ready for how awesome he was. No, because why is this a thing? I was like dating this guy for a couple dates. Honestly, I think we went on like maybe 5 in total. Maybe on like our 3rd or 4th date. We're sitting in the car and he's telling me about how he's in love with like his female best friend, and I'm giving him advice. I'm like, hey, maybe you should get back with her. Like, if this is really who you care about, you should probably be with her instead of wasting other people's time. Oh, so emotionally immature. Honey. But yes, being talked to on a date by a man about other women he's interested in is a thing. I kept myself between this dude and the door the whole time. He kept asking me if I wanted to use his bathroom. I said I was good and stayed parked near the door, getting more and more furious. Finally, I told him this wasn't working out and I would like to go home. He jumped up and I shit you not, pulled the family proclamation off the wall and told me we needed to sit on his couch and read it together. I told him I'd already read it. He said, no, we have to read it together. Oh my gosh. I said I wanted to go home. He said I wasn't giving him a chance and that he felt prompted that we were meant to be together. I told him I felt the exact opposite. He made some dismissive comment and I walked out the door and walked back to my home. Oh my goodness. Okay, but actually, so true. I think they have this like, you know, connection with the big guy. So when they feel a crush on a woman, sometimes they misinterpret that as like, oh, God is telling me that you're actually my future wife. Did you know that? Oh, terrible situation to be in. Horrible. And anyone who does that is manipulative and evil. He spammed me with texts and calls for weeks after that. And he also continued showing up at the Cannon Center asking for me. When I complained to my bosses, they said there was nothing they could do. Awesome. Honestly, I look back on this one and wish I had been more assertive, but I'm glad I was as assertive as I was. I did not go on any more dates at BYU. Good, I'm glad. Honestly, if you're watching this and you actively live in Orem or Provo or wherever you're surrounded by Mormon boys or girls, just be careful, prioritize yourself. I would recommend not doing it as much as you can, but if you are an ex-Mormon, try to look for ex-Mormon people or just never Mormon people to go on dates with. Those are going to be the dates that are probably a lot more normal and will show you what dating in the actual real world is like. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you learned so much. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please drop it down in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!